Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for my client Robbie's vlog. And things are getting a little tough with the training because we are into his first cut ever. So things have been a little harder. But again, keeping in mind he was extremely skinny and gained 50 pounds over the course of 2 years. Wants to bring the body fat down. Of course, he told me I messed up. I did my 5+ weeks weight and got 5 reps on the 3+ week, and I read the sheet wrong. Now, before people laugh at that, believe me, I've seen worse. I've had a couple of clients who literally couldn't even read the sheets, like the sheet that you see in the screenshot. Like I had one who would come in and get their days confused. They'd get their days confused, and they would do their max effort lower day and then speed bench afterwards. Like, oh, I read the sheet wrong. I did all my bench press accessories after hitting a max squat. It's like, but you knew it was a lower body day. Yeah, I did, but I tried to stick to the sheet, and they just went down the sheet reading it wrong, and they would mix their days up all the time. So these things happen. I've seen far worse than what he did there. In other words, far worse. But let's get over into the training. I always laugh, with some stuff. I get a lot of times people who, they do a setup like he does on the bench, and it's kind of a minor pet peeve. Some of my guys like that. I really dislike the whole starting with the unracking and then putting your butt down on the bench afterwards. Particularly, in his case, because, he has to reset his feet and everything. It's just one of those minor pet peeves as a coach. I don't see the point of what a person's trying to achieve with this. In other words, if you're unracking with your butt up, it's because you're trying to somehow get tight or maintain something with your tightness. I've just truly never understood it personally. What I find is, because sometimes I'll get people who see that, and I want them to understand that I as a coach don't like that, because they'll try to imitate it. And I find it leads to excessive butt lift on the bench personally. I have at least one client who insists that he has to do it that way because he can't get a big enough arch to avoid hurting his shoulders. It's obviously an older lifter. And, it's the only way he can get a big enough arch, but then his butt also comes off the bench on every rep on a hard set. So to me, I don't like it because it's just not that hard to get tight on a bench and to set your glutes in. I do it and people are like, wow, you just kind of slide in and you get tight. It's like, yeah. It's not that difficult. Like, it's only difficult to get super tight on a bench if you're trying to set up a really big arch, right? And in which case you're going to have to use all sorts of methods. But unless you're chasing that extra inch of arch, I think people overcomplicate it and they end up not being as tight as they really should be. For his squats, did good there. He got 4 reps, but notice reps 3 and 4. We're seeing a little bit of chest caving happening. And again, it's definitely a tightness issue. It's definitely an issue of a lot of times a bit of back weakness occurring there. Definitely some lower back weakness and stuff occurring, and sometimes middle back. But it can also be through fatigue. But again, something I see pretty commonly with younger lifters, even ones I've worked with for a while, of seeing that chest cave as soon as they get fatigued. And, quite frankly, it's usually because we haven't had time to build their low back and things as strong as we would like, ideally. But also the case of if we're going to do these reps, people have to learn to terminate their set sooner. So in the case of Robert there, I might have told him, if I was there in person, say coaching, and we were going to do an rep like that, which again, I don't like to do those for most of my programming. I push largely away from this type of programming because I just find it beats people up more than conjugate. But if I was coaching in person, I would have stopped him at rep 3, right? Because we saw the form degrade. Form's degrading. We don't want to do, another rep. But here's the issue we're running into. It's not necessarily Robert's fault. He is still a young lifter, and he's on his first cut. And I think in that case there is a propensity to struggle to know your fatigue because he's used to being able to get stronger, slowly stronger all the time. Then we go into his first real cut after 2 straight years of bulking, and then fatigue is higher. He's having to learn to manage it better and having to learn to manage his expectations on the hard sets. It's that you're going to come in and all of a sudden maybe what would have been a 5 rep max at one time is now suddenly turning into a 4 rep max. Right? So learning to assess that fatigue based upon the fatigue in the individual set instead of your expectation. Right? Because our expectations might be incorrect. That's why I tell people go into sets in general with no expectation. It's like that with these guys who are like, well, I want to get this many reps. No. Your sheet says 5+. That's what your sheet says. You don't walk into that with an expectation. Your expectation is you get to 5 and then see if you can do more. Same thing with my people my conjugate lifters. If they message me the night before and go, how much weight do you think I'm going to be able to get tomorrow on this lift? I will take that lift away from them and give them a different lift. And clients don't like that. But it's like I told you to never think about this stuff. Right? If you're not warming up at the gym, you shouldn't be worried about or thinking at all about how much you think you're going to lift on a ramp up towards a training max or a max effort lift. You shouldn't be thinking about this stuff. You should just come in and execute. All right, expectation is a problem. It's a major psychological hang-up. It gets you hurt or it makes you sandbag. Now, deadlift was pretty good. We got 3 reps with 215 kg. And I made him quit pulling off those blocks. He had been pulling off of some of those for, I don't know why, I forget why now. It had to do with, it was something to do with the platform he was on. And I'm like, look, quit pulling off those small blocks. They're messing you up. Just get in and deadlift. All right? Get in and deadlift. And he did just fine there. Now, again, we didn't get plus reps, but doesn't matter, does it? He's at almost 5 plates with 215 kg doing a triple. All right, this is a lifter who has just over a couple years of experience. So we're happy with that. And then, of course, he finishes up with good mornings at the end of this. And again, we base it up on which of the 2 gyms he's at and what equipment he has available. He has a couple different gyms that he has to rotate through between being at home, being at school, everything else. But yeah, I'm happy with those deadlifts on this. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.